I'm fighting with our next guest already. Welcome back. The Firefighters of Ireland are out in force all over the country this morning, raising money for the amazing Evie's Pink Tie charity, which provides practical and financial support to children suffering from cancer and for their families.
Anthony Kerwin from the National Retained Firefighters Association of Ireland is here to explain, along with the lovely Millie May Mangan and her mum, Susan. Good morning to you all.
Morning. Hi, guys.
And thank you for joining us. Millie May, we'll come to you in a minute. Millie May has lots to talk about, doesn't she?
She's the boss. She's the boss.
She is the boss, exactly. But Mum, will you tell us, first of all, because Millie got sick and you were told initially that there was a series of what they thought were viral infections, which, as a parent, we've all heard.
Yeah, well, she was sick for a couple of weeks and we're going back and forth. They kept sending me back home saying, Calpol, Nurofen, viral infections. But something just wasn't right. There was something underneath it. And I went, it was August Bank Holiday 2016, I went to Temple Street. Okay. And they checked her over, the same thing, it's a viral. Come back in a week if it gets any worse. But that night, she did get a little bit worse, but not enough for like an ambulance or stuff.
Okay.
So I brought it back the next day and I said, look, I know you're a doctor, but I'd like a second opinion. Mm-hmm. And I felt stupid even asking them.
How old was she at the time?
3.
She was only 3, she was only a baba.
But your gut tells you something's not right as a mother, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just knew there was something was there that you were missing. I actually thought it would have been pneumonia or something that you were just missing. Now, she was playing on the floor, but she was still unwell.
Yeah.
So I went up and I asked for a second opinion and they said, OK, we'll send her for an X-ray. Within 9 minutes of the X-ray, you could see them scurrying around the X-ray on the wall. And I knew
everything had changed.
That was her.
Yeah.
I knew it was her X-ray. They were looking at me and
a lot of people,
back.
Susan, wouldn't do that. A lot of people would just go, yeah, I'll take your word for it.
No.
They wouldn't say, I want a second opinion.
That's the thing, because they're doctors, but you're the mammy. Yeah. You know your baby.
Yeah.
And I watched the X-ray and they looked over at me, glancing over, back and forth. So I stood on my feet and I said, is there something wrong? Can someone come and talk to me? And that's when they said, you have to take a seat. We're going to send for the registrar. And you watch enough programmes to know the registrar, it's obviously not good. It's something important that they're going to come and tell you.
Yes.
So the registrar came and she pulled the curtain around and she said, there's no easy way to say this, but Millie has cancer. And it's actually like a ringing in your ears. There's no words to describe what that feels like. It's soul-shattering, but it's just very hard to kind of get your head around it, but you have your baby.
Nothing can prepare you.
No.
To sit there and hear those words about your own child.
No. I think no one ever actually expects them to say that in the way that they say it. It's just, she has cancer. But she did say to me, they think it's a lymphoma, but there's so many types, we need to go for the testing to look into it. Okay. So it was from then on, it was just hundreds of tests. It was just a flurry full of people. It never sank in. But Millie was sitting in front of me, she was still sick, but not what you would say cancer sick, what you imagine what cancer would look like.
Something dramatic or something.
It looked like the flu, a pain. She had a pain here and there. She had a slight lump in her neck. But we were sent straight over to Crumlin Hospital. And within 48 hours, she was critically ill. And she ended up going in for the diagnosis on the 6th of August. So it was 50-50 whether she'd even make it off the operating table that time, which again was another shock because she was sitting talking. She wasn't what I would have said was what I thought what critically ill would have looked like.
Yes.
But the cancer itself was a huge mass in her chest and it had pushed all her vital organs out of place. So when they're going in for diagnosis, it's actually a needle through her chest to get some fluid, to get a diagnosis of exactly what type of lymphoma that she had.
Because this mass inside her chest was actually suffocating her organs, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's why they kept sending me back, and she actually had a collapsed lung sitting in front of me and nobody picked that up, listening to her chest. It was suffocating her and making her voice change, so she sounded a little bit like Minnie Mouse, which was different.
It's that high-pitched voice, isn't it?
Yeah. What was the treatment then after that? Was it chemotherapy or what did she have to do after that?
Well, you're very quickly told that it's... You assume like chemotherapy is going to be like a few weeks of this or a few weeks of that. It's actually 2.5 to 3 years long for chemotherapy, the treatment. And that's every day that child will take it. In the start, it's very intensive treatment. You're in Crumlin Hospital every day.
This is your new life, basically.
This becomes your life,
isn't it?
You close the door on whatever you've done the day before you went to hospital, and this is your new life. You're thrown into it.
Yeah.
All these medical terms, you almost become an expert in your child's cancer diagnosis because you're online while she's sleeping at night time. I'm surfing the internet trying to find a quicker way, or is there a better way? Is there better drugs? Do children live having this type of cancer? Because that's another side of it, that the worry is constantly there.
Yeah.
So she went through all this and chemotherapy then, and you're sort of coming out the other side of it. Am I right?
Well, yeah, we're sort of coming out the other side of it now. She finished in December. but you're not home and dry as what we call them cancer parents would say until the 5-year passes. It's this 5-year window where you're at risk of relapse until this 5-year passes. So we're 6 months into that 5 years.
Okay.
So I don't think your life will ever be normal.
Of course.
As before.
But all the treatment that you had to go through, Millie, has happened.
Yeah.
Well done to you. She's a very
How
brave
are you feeling
girl.
now, madam?
She's a superstar.
In good form? We were talking about Toy Story during the ad break, and Millie was telling us that her favourite toy is Barbie. And there's a trip to the toy shop straight after this, is there?
Oh, yeah.
So she's just watching the clock at this stage. She's just counting down the minutes until she gets...
Going through the motions here.
Just
boring adult chat.
Doing a little bit of media and then into Smith's then afterwards for the Barbie.
Are you feeling well, Millie? Yeah? Are you going into school?
Yeah, she's in 4th class now. Yeah, she went back yesterday.
Wow. We'll come back to you in a minute. Anthony, can we bring you in here? You might explain to us, first of all, what the retained Firefighters of Ireland are.
Perfect.
Silly question to you, I'm sure. But
yeah, well, most people around the world will be familiar with full-time firefighters. So full-time firefighters, when they're doing their shift, they're based in the station. When their shift is finished, their job is finished for the day, and they go home. Retained service is slightly different. We all wear a pager or an alerter on our hip. We're embedded in the communities all over the country. Every small town in the country has a fire station. And we work and live and socialise in our towns and villages, and if the pager goes off, you have between 5 and 6 minutes to turn out to the fire station to that call.
Okay.
So it means you must work and live quite close to your fire station.
Okay. Tell us then about the Aveen's pink tie and the house and the firefighters' involvement in this. Okay,
well, I'm the PRO and media officer for the National Retained Firefighters Association. So we were looking for a partner charity. The nature of what I just explained to you, there's a degree of separation between firefighters, and outside of training courses, they're very seldom to get to work on anything together outside of their local area.
Okay.
So we were looking for something that might bring the Firefighters of Ireland together, something good, something for a feel-good factor. So we said we'd go out and look for a partner charity. After meeting a number of charities, we finally met Jimmy Norman and Mick Rochford of Aveen's Pink Tie. They told us about the charity, what their plans were, what they've done and what they're trying to do.
What is it they're doing and what are they trying to do?
So basically, Aveen's Pink Tie was started up by Jimmy Norman and Mick Rochford in 2010. Unfortunately, after the passing of Jimmy's daughter, Aveen, who died from cancer. As a mark of respect, Aveen's favourite colour was pink. So all the men wore pink ties to Aveen's funeral. Around the discussions at the time, Jimmy found that he had great support from families and friends while they were on the ward, but saw that many people were there on their own or had no help, no financial support. So they looked into it. There was no national children's cancer charity at the time.
Okay.
So they started up, Mick and Jimmy started up the charity and called it Aveen's Pink Tie.
There you go. I suppose, Susan, you would have, having lived through, like you say, you leave your life behind and this becomes your new life, tending to your child, so that things like, where am I going to sleep tonight? Or what am I going to have for my breakfast tomorrow morning? They become completely secondary.
Well, that comes under our worry, because when Millie was diagnosed, we lived in the top balcony of a block of flats in the city centre. It was riddled in damp and she was severely ill. We lost our home that same time because the house just wasn't suitable to go home to. And we ended up staying in a house belonged to the hospital, which also wasn't suitable and was usually used for parents that live outside Dublin. So I got to stay there for 5 days with Millie. She was the only child in there that would have had cancer, but we were asked to leave after a couple of days because it was in need of a family that were coming up.
Somebody else needed it, yeah. And
this is where the Aveen's Pink Tie house comes in, because they're building this house that is solely for children fighting cancer. So as you can imagine, no one actually understands what it's like to have a long day on chemo on the ward with a child. From me, it's tough enough coming from Dublin, but if you're coming from Donegal, you have to leave your house in the middle of the night, pack that sick child into the back of your car, drive to Dublin, and then sit there for 7 or 8 hours getting your chemotherapy, and then pack that child back into the car, who'll probably be sick on the way home about 100 times in the car from the chemotherapy. The house is going to be a safe haven, as they call it.
And the house is near Crumlin. It's near the hospital.
About 5 minutes. You can actually see it from the top floor. Yes, you can actually see the hospital from the top floor of the house, which is another special. It's a
really interesting point you make, Susan, because I've met a lot of the families on St John's Ward in Crumlin, and until you actually see how they live their life, and you just walk away going, I haven't got a complaint in the world. They're just incredible how it totally takes over your life, and there isn't enough funding or support there.
Definitely not.
The firefighters, Anthony, you're out in force all over Ireland, shaking buckets, and there's car washes all over Ireland as well, and fundraising activities and events, and there's almost certainly one near you. So Anthony is encouraging all of us
everyone to get involved.
To get involved and get active. Is that right?
Yes. So basically, our short-term goal is the Lighthouse project in Drimna that Susan is talking about.
Fantastic.
What we're going to do is the strip and dip and the plane pull.
What's the strip and dip now?
So, some braver ladies than me...
You caught our attention.
Yeah, braver ladies than me have come from all around Ireland, and over the last couple of years have all stripped off for charity in aid of Avion's pink tie at a secret location in Ireland.
Oh, right.
And then there's the annual plane pull in Dublin Airport. So both of those big projects have bought the house. They've got it refurbished. They're on the second fix at the moment.
Lovely.
So what our thing today is going to do, it's going to finish that house and it's going to run it for the first year.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
It's a fantastic cause. Guys, we congratulate you on your participation. And thanks a million for coming on. And Millie May's getting a Barbie.
Yay! Oh, you deserve it.
Awesome.
You know
and
that.
the bucket collections as well. Awesome.
Want to give your new teacher a wave?
Oh, yeah, and Rogan, our cousin Rogan. All our cousins are at home.
Too cool. Right, for more information, you can find everything you need on avionspinktie.ie.